Thank you everybody for joining us this evening. I can see that we have about 25 people that have signed in so early. Thank you for joining the conversation this evening. Thank you. I'm thanking you for helping yourself. I'm thanking you for taking a decision to want to get financial education and to want to do things better, to work towards financial freedom for now and for your later season of life. I'm very privileged and happy this evening that I have Vida with me. She's a resource that I've tried to get to talk on other platforms, but because of her schedule, she wasn't available to do that. And so it's a privilege that I can host her on the Finance Coach platform this evening. Thank you very much, Vida, for joining. We have a lot to talk about, and I know that many people would have questions. So I'm just going to introduce you quickly and let you have the floor. I've said it before, I'm sure you know how grateful I am. On behalf of everyone that will gain this evening, on behalf of everyone that will take home something and whose life will be better when they look back and remember the 10th of September 2022, on behalf of everyone around the call, I say thank you very much. Now, before I go on, I would just like to introduce, for those that don't know the Finance Coach BK platform, I have just one mission and I have one agenda. What I've been doing since 2017 is to empower people financially. I want everybody to be financially fit. I want as many people as I can help to get financial freedom. And so I teach you principles and money skills that will help you stay financially fit to make better money choices and then walk to a new and a better level of financial fitness and financial freedom. So at the end of the day, the whole goal is financial freedom. Financial freedom is something I like to define as the status that you get to when you have enough money or income to pay all your expenses. Could be your expenses, your needs, or your wants, anything that you need to do with money for now and for the rest of your life without depending on anybody or depending on any active business or work. So you can sit on the sofa and your money begins to work for you. That's the objective. That's the financial freedom we're talking about. And I'm sure that when Vida starts talking, she would pay more, give us more details and teach us more skills on that. I love this picture of you, Vida.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes. So, like I said earlier on, Vida is a resource that I've tried to get, and so we are privileged to have her this evening speak to us on this platform. Vida is the Principal Innovation Director and the host of the Signpost with Davida Echetabu. It is a social development firm committed to corporate and societal reforms through thought-provoking and action-triggering weekly conversations. She has a YouTube page, and I'm sure that as we take the conversation forward this evening, we would share the handle of her YouTube page. She's passionate about reintroducing genuine meaning and humanity back into the soul of the society through relatable engagements. Vida, as she's popularly called, she is a certified wealth manager and a thoroughbred financial services expert. Her professional financial services career spanned over 15 years across the Stanbic IBTC group. She served as an astute private and investment banker, strategic relationship manager, pension expert, and wealth manager par excellence to private and high net worth clients, respectively. I'm sure some people around the call understand what we mean by high net worth clients. So if people like that can trust her with their money, then you know we have a good resource this evening. Vida is a leader among leaders as she has very successfully engaged with several C-suite executives and captains of industry on their financial planning and wealth management journeys. Vida's profile that I'm reading this evening is paraphrased. I just want you to know that. I had to cut it short because of time. Vida is a multi-talented event compere. She a talk show host, a public speaker, subject matter expert. She's been on TV, several TV programs, talking about her passion and all that she's pursuing. She is an amateur spoken wordsmith and a poet, as well as a resource person and member of faculty for various training, mentoring, and leadership communities. Vida has facilitated numerous pension and wealth management sessions, as well as organization retreats and strategy sessions. Most instructive about Vida which is one reason I love her also, is her love for the Almighty God. She's lavish about her dependence on the divine, and she's quick to admit that her relationship through Jesus Christ holds the most prioritized position in her life. And if you're a Christian around the call, you do understand what that means. It means she's a person of high integrity because she has to follow the example of Christ that she professes. And if you're not a Christian around the call, what it just means is that you can trust Vida to speak to you from a position of integrity. Thank you so much, Vida, for joining us this evening. I think I've given you sharing, right? So you can share your slides.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Have you stopped sharing yours? Okay, perfect. Okay, please confirm your view. Is your view good? Okay, you're muted. All right, but I can see that.
You could see my lips saying very good.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Good evening and a very warm welcome to everybody who has taken some time to join us on the session today. Take a minute and say a virtual hi to your neighbor beside you. And let's ease the tension this evening. I hope that your Saturday has been excellent. Thank you very much, Mrs. Komolafe. I hope it's okay. Just for the sake of this event, can I address you by your first name, please?
It's fine, Vida. Thank you so much.
All right. You know, where I'm from, we have to respect. So that was necessary.
You're well brought up. That's what you're saying.
Thank you very much, Bimbo. Okay, it's really a privilege and it is an honor to be here. And I really appreciate the fact that you have come again and again after me. And I do not take it for granted. I wasn't doing shakara for you. It just happened. All right, so let's launch in. Time is of the essence. And today we will be discussing financial freedom and retirement planning. I'm sure we have all subsequently heard so much about these two very critical things that we seem to hear a lot more about as we get older, as we rise in our career, and as we stay longer in paid employment. So yes, they are Siamese twins. Well, maybe not Siamese twins, but they are twins. It's difficult actually to talk about financial freedom without talking about retirement planning. And it's also subsequently a bit of a tricky thing, you know, discussing retirement planning without discussing financial freedom. So let's chat. And please, the chat room is open. I know some hands are popping up here and there. Techno LC8 has been raising a hand for a little bit. You can just drop your message in the chat. I'm sure it will be picked up by one of our helps. Okay, so in the chat room where you are able, please, what is your understanding of financial freedom? What is your understanding of financial freedom? Please drop it there. It is a learning session for everyone. Somebody is expecting, okay, yes. Are we together? Can people hear me?
I can hear you, Vida, you're good.
Okay, cool, all right. Okay, so what is financial freedom to you? Please make it engaging and drop a message in the chat room. For the sake of time, we're going to go further, and there are a number of things that we're probably going to talk about that will not be in the slides, because slides are just props. They are tools to help the conversation. In a manner of speaking, the ability to live your preferred lifestyle without financial concerns, you could call that, you know, financial freedom. It could also be to comfortably meet all your obligations, both financial and non-financial, with ease. You realize that there are lots of obligations we have that are not necessarily monetary. A lot of them are monetary, but not all. And the ability to meet those needs is freedom. According to moneyfaith.org, financial freedom is having enough savings, financial investments, cash on hand to afford the kind of lifestyle we desire for ourselves and our families. Now, what do we mean by retirement planning? I believe that it is almost self-explanatory, but there are key elements that I would like for us to, just discuss a little bit. I'll start with the definition that Investopedia, gave. It says, in the simplest sense, retirement planning is what one does to be prepared for life after paid work ends. This isn't just financially, but in all aspects of life. Now, my own definition, I coined the first two there, I believe. And the second one is quite instructive. It's all the decisions and actions that one takes to ensure that they are especially financially independent, able to afford their desires, and age gracefully with dignity. There's something that we say in Nigeria, that we are our parents' pension plan, and the children are our children, our pension plans, and the like. But I don't know about you. There is some level of, what's the word? I wouldn't say disrespect, but it's not very dignified when you have to wait on someone, especially as an adult, to pick up a bill or, meet a need. No matter how much our children love us, the fact that we're going to have to wait for them, when they have money, they will now buy us that thing that we've been wanting. It takes away from our sense of worth, our confidence, and our dignity. It is not a nice place to be. I'm going to give a quick example here. And I don't know what people's thoughts are with regards to retirement. I know that when people hear retirement, we automatically think of the aged, people that are above 50, or let's just say above 60, at least those ones are clearly retired. But I was thinking about this presentation, and it occurred to me that anybody, and this is not cast in stone, just for the context that we're discussing, anyone who leaves paid employment at age 40 and above, in my opinion, has taken an early retirement. I'd like for you to think on that. If you are age 40 and above, it could be that you left your job voluntarily or involuntarily. It could be because you wanted to go into business or, trade, or, you just wanted to take a break and re-strategize something. You have actually taken an early retirement. And there are reasons why you were able to take those decisions. Of course, in the situation where it was an involuntary early retirement due to circumstances clearly outside of your control, you have still gone into retirement at an earlier stage, not when you planned for it, but you have gone into retirement. And trust me, it may look uncomfortable, but it's an advantage you're having. It's an advantage you're having. I like to give this, I like to have these conversations with some real facts, real life experiences, in order to make sure that we are all communicating appropriately. And so I'll use myself as an example. a few months ago, I decided that it was time to leave my job. And for the context of this conversation, I realize now that I took an early retirement. I wasn't leaving to go and jump into another job with another employer. I was leaving because I felt like, you know what, it was time. I had done my dues there and it's time to do something different. And I realized that I'm on an early retirement. Now, for people who opt to take retirement as early as I have, we have been able to do so because we have options. We have some resource that has given us the liberty, the independence with dignity, you know, to take those decisions. And I hope it's beginning to, you know, unveil in clearer light to you. The critical aspect of retirement is that you are able to make the best of it, that you have options and you are ready for it. I was ready for it. I assessed a whole load of things. Now, when I say ready, it doesn't mean that I have access to the vault of the British jewels and all that, no. But it means that within my own context, I could afford not to be in paid employment for XYZ number of months or years, and I would be okay, and I would be, I would maintain my dignity. It is a critical aspect of retirement. At this point, I would also like to ask Bimbo, are we still having Mommy Fola?
Yes, she's in, and I've promoted her to panelist. I will just have to quickly share my screen. You can come back to sharing later.
Absolutely. Okay.
Mommy Fola, you can speak if you're there. Just say yes first before I introduce you. Are you online, ma? Can you unmute yourself, please?
Okay, yes, I'm here. Good evening, Mrs. Komolafe.
Yes, ma. Thank you so much. And pardon Vida and myself for calling you Mommy Fola. People around the call are not privileged to call you Mommy Fola, but it's an honor to have you joining us today. We know you're going to speak to us briefly to share your experience because, ladies and gentlemen around the call, Mommy Fola, like we fondly call her, she is a 75-year-old mother, grandmother. She's a retired pharmacist, but it's unbelievable the extent of financial education that she has and her interest in investments. And the conversations that we've had with her so far shows that she did some of the things that Vida wants you to begin to pay attention to. She did that early. So we said we'll give her 5 minutes for you to hear from somebody who has good experience in this area. The floor is yours, ma. I don't know if you can use the 5 minutes as agreed.
Oh, good evening. Thank you, Mrs. Komolafe. Good evening, everyone. I thank you, Davida. Thank you. My own little experience is essentially knowing about investment. I started very early in life. When I was still an undergraduate, it was my father that brought me to it. And at that time, there was Nigeria was going into public investment, where companies are now, the government made the rule that all the national companies must privatize and get some Nigerians involved. As a very young student in the university, my father put me into it, this investment. He asked me to buy, he got the form for me, I filled the form, he gave it to me. He said, I thought my father was going to pay for it. He said, no, all your little point you have been putting in piggyback, go and take it and pay for it. That was how I started buying shares. I showed interest. No, maybe because I used my money to start. That enabled me to pay interest in it. And that was how I started this issue of this investment. And since that time, I've been into it. And part of my plan in life is that I don't intend to live on any child. I want to be independent, to be able to take care of myself. Wow. So I get myself interested in all in shares, investing, any kind of investment that is available. I get myself educated on them. I show interest, I learn about it, and participated. Even this Mrs. Komolafe, it was in one of these programs, like webinar like this, that I heard about her. When I listened to what she was educating me, financial empowerment, financial freedom. So, and I followed up, and she introduced me to several ways by which one can invest. And I showed interest, I did my due diligence, I took the decision, and I went into it. I'm not regretting it. And investments, as early as you can do it, I would suggest for anybody. It involves discipline, determination. You must be intentional. And one must be able to take your eyes away from things that don't matter. That was how I got involved into this. That's how I went into investment. I've not stopped. I'm still going. If I still any new thing that I know I can invest in, because like I said, I don't want to wait for any child to bring pocket money for me before I eat.
Thank you so much, ma.
Live my life.
Hey, thank you so very much, ma. And thank you for allowing us to continue to call you the way we are comfortable with, which is our dear Mommy Fola. So Mommy is 75 years old, and we will be having a conversation with her, a more informal conversation, where it will be like we're gisting with her and we ask her questions, and she will tell us more of the tricks and the things that worked for her. Because of privacy and protecting her person, we may not be able to say in specific terms the kind of investments that she's gone into. But the things she mentioned are part of what Vida wants you to hear this evening. Thank you so much, Mumi Fola. It's a privilege to have you on this program. And thank you for being so humble.
Thank you for having me.
All right, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
Thank you, ma. Vida, back to you.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going back to share my slide. Okay. So thank you very much, Mommy Fola. And I am sure that listening to her, someone who is in her 70s and she is still actively involved in investments, managing her own portfolio, making sure that she's independent to a very decent degree, has given everybody here some food for thought. And now it's your turn. Assume that you were given a platform like Mommy Fola. How ready are you for retirement? How prepared are you? What type of conversations? Are you 50% there, 30% there, 75% there? Are you 100% there? This is some time for introspection, really put your medulla to work. What are your thoughts when you really, really consider retirement down the road? How does that make you feel? Now, I remember a session I had with an organization. I believe I traveled to Sapele on a job, on a job trip. And I had a session with them. It was an oil firm there. And I asked them a question I'm going to ask you here today. If, for instance, your employer goes through some tough time and they're struggling financially to meet salary obligations, and they say, you know what, guys, we can't meet up 100% of your salary. We're going to have to trim everybody's salary by 30%. Please, in the chat room, how many of you would drop your resignation letters and say, I can't take it? No, nobody, touch my money and I'm out of the door. How many people can actually, you know, say that and will actually take that as an option? In the chat room, please. I would like you to please drop your comments there. It's necessary for us to look at ourselves and say, if they cut my salary by 30%, 20%, 10%, 40%, would I leave my job? Will I be angry? Will I be disappointed, you know, and say, you know what, I'm not doing again? How dare they? My employment letter and my contract says this. Can we have some activity in the chat room? Because this is something that we're meant to be, you know, engaging, mutually engaging. I can tell you for free, very few people will drop their resignation letters. In fact, in that session that I held, nobody raised their hand to drop their resignation letters. Nobody. Why is that? Because, you know, children will still go to school, house rent will still be paid. People that will go on vacation will still go on vacation. NEPA bill, car will still be serviced, mortgage will still be paid, even though it is now 70% or 50% that you're earning. But those bills will still happen. Do you know why? Because humans are very, very adaptable. In fact, it is when they have cut salary by 30% or 20%, the workforce will actually work even harder, because it signals that maybe the next thing they may be doing is drawing up a list of people they want to let go of. So you want to make sure that you are not on that list. Now, if you can actually voluntarily survive without 30% of your salary, 20%, 10% of your salary, if they cut the salary because of hard times the company is going through, why not give yourself a salary cut? Why not give yourself a salary cut and channel that money into a savings and investment instrument? Something for you to think about. Now, for the sake of this session, there are lots of things that I have to jump, you know, but there are, what type of financial personality are you? In the chat box, please. What type of financial personality are you? There are five, sometimes people say there are 4, there are 6, there are 8, but for this presentation, I picked 5. The serious savers, you know, those people that when you meet, they're always saving something. They're always looking for how to get the cheaper version of everything. They just want to be scrimping and saving and all that. And then we also have dangerous debtors. I'm sure if you ask around in your circle or in the office or somewhere, you have heard of people who are permanently broke, permanently owing somebody, permanently, you know, taking from here to pay here, to service here, to do this, to do that. I'm sure we know of such people. They're dangerous. And then we have the people who are big spenders. They can declare for heaven and earth. They don't do things small. They are solid. They know how to have a good time. 5 vacations in 1 year, all to exotic locations. And then there are people who are happy shoppers. They feel a little bad, they go shopping. The sun isn't shining quite as bright, they go shopping. Ashwabi is out, they buy. Cousin is selling belts, they buy. They are happy shoppers. And then we have the money makers. You know, those people who are also, you know, they always have one deal that they're chasing. If it's not this deal, it's another deal. And they're making money, they're hustling something, they're always selling something, they're always doing something. I mean, when you see them, be sure of a debit alert, because there's something they're always doing. They're always on one project or the other. Now, which type are you? And in this conversation, the only way to make progress and to get us to where we want to be is to be as real with yourself. You're answering yourself. Take a look at yourself. I mean, you can deceive the rest of us, but take a look at yourself. Because again, remember, we're talking about financial freedom. If you're not able to identify and address which of these personalities has the overbearing, overlapping end in your transactions, that therein is the foundation of the challenge. There isn't anybody who isn't a little of any of these. Everybody is a big spender given a certain circumstance. Everybody is, well, I won't say everybody is in debt, and not everybody is dangerous, but I would say that there are times that that debt is necessary for constructive things, not for consumption, not for going on vacation and party clothes and all those things. And all of us endeavor to make money one way or the other. So everybody has a little bit of these personalities. It's just which one is driving your car, which one is flying your plane. Is it the one that is going to crash land or go up in smoke in the sky? Or is it the one that's going to land the plane properly? Which one are you? Because for each of these ones, the minute you are able to identify the one that is taking the lead, then you would be able to say, okay, this is where I need help. You've started to flash the lights on the right things. In this model, now, before I go back first, let me tell a story here. And I'll tell a story here because we're in Africa. We're in Africa, where I don't know whether it's unfortunate or incidentally, let me say incidentally, that's the word. We are very cultural, we're very family driven, very family oriented. And if you are not careful, you would find out that what happened to me will happen to you, the Lord forbid, or you may have already come out of it. So I remember when I hit 10 years of working, and you know, when you hit 10 years, there's something that just does in your head one kind, bam, you settle down and say to myself, what do I have to show for this 10 years of working? And I looked up, looked down, looked everywhere, and I didn't have anything to show for it. I really didn't. If anything at all, I was in a really hot mess. I was in debt. And I mean, I used to work for Stanbic, so salaries were always on time. And people that know me know that I am not a frivolous person. But what happens to a lot of people happened to me. And I am not saying this to make people turn against family and all that, because it is what it is. We will pick up bills. But the thing is, I didn't have a budget for the family bills. So whenever something came up from anywhere, I just was not responsible enough to have a proper budget I stuck to. And we cannot blame the families. Before we start blaming our stepmother, our cousins in the village and all that, we can't blame anybody for our own irresponsibility. We may be very loving, we may be very kind, but we should also add responsibility to that. And so I looked at myself very quickly and I knew that I had to get out of debt. I knew I had to start saving aggressively because I said to myself, God forbid I lose my job. Everybody will look at me and say, Davida, Stambik, big chick. What's going on? And I was going on vacation every year. So again, there's so much to say, and it's almost like I don't even know which one to say first. One of the things that I believe I got wrong, which I hope helps somebody, is I would save, I'll put it in an investment, and then when it's time for a vacation, I will take the money and go on vacation. And it seemed prudent because I wasn't running around looking for who is going to give me vacation money. So technically, I was robbing Peter to pay Paul, even though both were mine. What I should have done was open an account for vacation, separate it from my savings. I was putting both together, telling myself that when the time comes, I knew I would know to separate the money. I would know which one is for which. It didn't work for me. And for most people, it won't work. So we'll just take it and say, Shebi, when I come back for the next 6 months, I know that I'm under the table. I'm going to put the money back, and then time for house rent comes, and then back to square one. So there are lots of things that I'm going to give as life examples of what has happened to me. And some of them might be what has happened to my clients, but because of confidentiality and privacy, I would probably refer to a few of them as what has happened to me. And so I was on that treadmill. You know, you're making a lot of efforts and you're going nowhere. You're sweating, you're doing stuff. And that's because I didn't have a budget. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have the money separated. So 1 minute I was a serious saver, saving very well, very diligent about it. Then it's time to go on vacation. Boom, I become a big spender. Boom. And when I go on vacation, I'm a happy shopper. If I've not entered shops and smelled new clothes, that vacation can never be complete. And then I'll come back and I will make money. I will make money. I will even bring things to sell and all that. And then back to square one. So I hope that this is beginning to flash some lights into areas where, you know, you need to plug, because it's just tantamount to fetching water with a basket. And there are tools. There are tools to help you. There are tools to help you get out of the fix. I'm almost beginning to think that I'm going to ask Bimbo that maybe we're going to have to do a part 2 of this, but we're going to do as much as we can. We're going to talk as much as we can. And after a while, I'm going to stop and go to the chat room and pick up questions. I've already been given a few questions that have come in so far, you know, and I will address those questions. There are tools. And for this conversation, I've called them quotients. I've called them quotients. I know the first one you can see is the spiritual quotient, but I will address that last. I will address that one at the last point. Your social quotient is the next most influential tool after spiritual quotient. Spiritual is the most powerful because, you know, God is sovereign. He can decide that, you know, you're not going that way, you're going this way. But second to the Lord, your social quotient is the next most powerful tool you have. And every tool here can lift you up or take you down. Every tool here can get you out or get you in to where you want to be. Your social quotient, this is where your spouse comes in for people who are married. For people who are not married, this is where what you should look out for in people that you intend to get married to or intend to date. This is where conversations with your children early about money comes in. This is where your friends and colleagues and business partners, this is where they all fall in. Now, if for any reason you have the wrong circle of friends, likelihood is that you can resist them thus far. But after a while, you see that thing that they used to say that used to upset you and make you irritated and angry. After a while, when you've heard it so much, it will become normal. In fact, you start laughing and you'll be amused. And before long, you'll relax. And then before long, you'll say, well, if this person is splurging once in a while can be every 2 weeks. So I'm not the one that killed Jesus, as we'll say. Because social influence is strong. Gone are the days when you say, I'm different, I have capacity, I'm all that, I'm this, I'm that. No. You don't have the time or energy for all that. So if you're in a crowd that their lifestyle, their spending, their habits are not taking you in the direction you want to go, it's time to, as we'll say, cut out. This is the time when you need to bring your children to have conversations. I'll refer to Mommy Fola. She was privileged. She's amongst the privileged few whose parents had, a decent amount of knowledge about money and investments, and they brought her into it and guided her and showed her the ropes. Most of us didn't have it. And if we do not deliberately begin to expose our children from primary school, as a matter of fact, to the value of money, what they're spending money on, they can't go, you can't eat out every Sunday after church, no. And tell them, instead of this, we'll put the money inside a mutual fund for you, or even in a piggy bank at home. Let them see it. And when it's decent, you move it into another account. Teach them delayed gratification. Those children will grow up with an advantage we didn't have. We learned a lot of things. And the reason why most of us are in this situation is because we didn't learn it early. We're on turbo right now to catch up. So your social quotient is a tool. Your network, where do you play? Who are you laughing with? Are you laughing with that song, say, I'll eat something today and leave tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself and all that? No. Now, intelligence quotient is the next thing. Intelligence quotient is not just talking about how smart you were in school, whether you scored 300 over 400 in JAM, no. Under this category, we're talking about knowledge, information, data. I have a principle. No matter how attractive an investment is, if I do not understand it fully, that money will sit in my account. So I'm not going anywhere I don't know. A number of people have fallen into scams that looked so good, sounded amazing. And at the end of the day, it went up in smoke. I remember a few years ago, maybe about, let's say about 18 months ago or so, one of my clients reached out to me, saying, your rates are not good, they are not exciting, this one, that one. I listened to him clearly. I said, okay, so where are the options you're looking at? Because this is Nigeria. We know what T-bill rates are doing. We know what dollar investments are doing. We know what Euro bonds are doing. We know what fixed deposits are doing. We know, I mean, we had the conversation. I said, even the CBN rates, all that, it is clear. And I brought out a flyer. He sent me a flyer, that somebody sent to him. Now, please do not mistake the fact that people are big, rich, and affluent automatically means that they know everything. They don't. They don't know everything. Everybody is learning. And so he sent me a flyer and I looked at it. And I mean, this was the period where across board, returns everywhere were single digits. Single digits. Fixed deposits that year, I think they were 1%, 2%, things as ridiculous as that. And then these people were offering him 9% or 11% on something or the other, very beautiful looking flyer. I looked forward, looked backward, tried to check to see where. They didn't say anything about where they were putting this money to give them these returns. And they're here in Nigeria with us. So I said, maybe there's something I've missed. So I called him back. I said, I've seen it. He said, yes, he's moving his money to them. I said, sir, see, at the end of the day, the decision is yours and it is your money. But I will ask you a few questions to please ask them. Once they're able to answer you satisfactorily and you have peace, then, I mean, I can't stop you. And so I pointed out a few things to him. These are the general rates in the industry: deposits, mutual funds, treasury bills, bonds, commercial papers, the works. I told him everything. I said, and these people are offering you between 9 to 11%. Where are they investing their own that the rest of the entire investment houses in Nigeria, including the federal government of Nigeria, have not seen to invest? That you need to know who are the people driving this ship. Who are they? Who are the management and the board? Not just the board, the management, because the board are not the ones that will take the day-to-day investment decisions. The management, who are they? What's their track record? Where did they come from? Are they approved by SEC? I asked him a barrage of questions and I said, go ahead, ask them. Once they answer you and you are okay, I can't stop you. In fact, even if you are not okay, I still can't stop you. But these are questions you need to ask when it comes to investments. Because I can almost bet you that at the end of this session, everybody is going to want to, get their act together, and everybody wants to do better, save better, make their money work for them and all that. Do not jump from frying pan to fire. Do not get into investments you do not understand. No matter how complicated an investment is, it must be easy for you, the owner of the money you're putting in there, to understand it. It may be Greek to the rest of us, but you must understand it. That's why I don't play everywhere, because I don't understand everything. Bottom line, he never came back to me and the money remained with us in Stanbic. I decided to help his dignity and his ego and not go any further. But I knew the answer, There was nothing, his decision and his action and the money remained, and he wired more money into our accounts, It answered all the questions for me. Now, we're going to go quickly to personal quotient. You should have records of your position, as we would call it. A lot of us have mental records, maybe we now need to move from mental records to actual records. Where do you have land? Where do you have your savings accounts, your investment accounts, your pension accounts for people who have been in paid employment for a while? You should have a pension account, you know, your domiciliary accounts for people. We're going to come to portfolio diversification shortly. You know, I'm just going to talk over it. I couldn't put everything in the slides. You need to have a clear view of your assets and your liabilities, your balance sheet. If you have all manners of lands, like a lot of us bought when we were younger in career, you need to identify where those lands are and value them. The ones you need to sell, get the money and put in other instruments. The ones you want to develop, please go ahead, develop and get into the real estate industry. Again, I will keep saying this intermittently. Do what you know, or do what you can get adequate information on so that you can know it. We say follow who knows road. Sometimes the people, have you ever been in a car where you're meant to be doing convoy and you're meant to be following somebody, and then the person forgets that you are following them, and then they just fire and then you are lost? They know the road though, but they're just not waiting for you. So follow wisely, please. Your personal quotient, you should know your cash flow. There are lots of rich people in Ikoyi. The assets they have, stocks and the houses and all that they have, but their cash flow is poor. They are broke. They are rich, but they are broke. So you need to check your cash flow. Multiple streams of income. And, you know, there's something that we say, you know, people assume that once you say multiple streams of income, people are thinking they're, you know, they are buying, they are selling, they are doing this, they are doing that. And in a manner of speaking, that is true. But your own multiple streams of income may be your salary, may be the money you have taken and you have put in your savings. It can be some of your investments in a mutual fund, in a bond, and the like, and all that. It could be all that. Could be different things. So my encouragement to you would be, whatever it is you decide to do, have a clear picture of your position. Have a clear, it should be as, you should settle down with a notebook and say to yourself, where is that land I bought in Mowe? The land I bought in Agbara, this one and that one, and start to track it. One thing I have advised my HNI clients as they get into the retirement space, and they say, they have this, they tell me maybe they have house in Port Harcourt, they have one house like this in Benin, another something like this somewhere in one other place, and all that. Guys, let's tell ourselves the truth. As we get older, we don't have the energy to be flying up and down, chasing people for rents and all that. And then maybe they intend to retire to Canada. And then they have all these piecemeal properties flying up and down the whole place. So I tell them, you know what? Maybe it's time for you to look at your entire portfolio and start to streamline them. Time to harness them. There are ways to go about this. They can actually give the properties to a management company, real estate management company, to run and pay them. Or they can say, you know what? I don't trust Nigerians, because a lot of people have had trust-related challenges from family, friends, and foes. You know, and they say, okay, you know what? I'm going to sell off this, and take the money and do this. They're consolidating their monies. They want to reduce the spread of all the pieces flying up and down and have things in a more structured portfolio. They can also decide they want to set up a trust so that whether or not they are alive, the trust is like a company running all these affairs of theirs. It is expensive to set up a trust, but it's expensive now, it will pay in future. It's expensive now, it will pay in future. So those are things you want to consider. In your investment, it is critical that you have a diversified portfolio. Very critical. Now look at the way the Nigerian economy has gone in different directions. It has been interesting, to say the least. Very interesting. I was privileged. So I started doing, I like to use myself as an example. So many years ago, many years ago, when I was still very much a junior, salary wasn't great. So every month, somehow, maybe I'll just change maybe $50, or take part of my savings, buy $50 or $100, put in my dorm account. I do not know why one time like this, I just stopped. I just stopped for no good reason. I was not very intelligent for stopping, but well, life happens to all of us. I started off again a few years ago. They pay my bonus, I just take the money, take a good chunk of it, boom, boom, and leave some in Naira. Obviously, we live in Nigeria, we spend Naira, but I put some in dollars, put some in pounds. And I've tried to do that a bit more consistently. And it has helped me. In fact, I'm almost going to, well, just for this conversation so that it helps you understand. Knowing that I had those assets made it easier for me to take a decision to go into early retirement. I may re-enter the workforce if that is what I choose to do, but it's an option for me. And because I have a bit of savings, I also have the option of saying, you know what, I don't want to go back into the workforce immediately. I'm going to look for other ways to earn an income. Till my surname changes and maybe I will be adopted by the King of Dubai and I won't have to worry about a budget.
Or the King of England. Vida, just a process check here. I know that you have a couple more slides, but there are some questions that I would really like us to talk about. We have a number of people from different backgrounds around the call. So yes, while some of the things we've spoken about already may help, high net worth people and people who have good and stable jobs and all of that, there are some government workers around the call, and there's some, low-level issues that I think you can easily, answer, help us deal with. Okay. Don't know what you want to do. Do you want to rush through I think you have 2 or 3 more slides. Do you want to rush through that?
Yes, I don't have very many slides left. Okay. I really don't have very many left. So I will just rush through the slides and then I will go to the questions.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Before you go to the questions, maybe you take some from this end.
Yes, please.
Okay, so let me just let you quickly run through the slides. I'm conscious of the time, and we do have, about 90 people around the call, which is a good number. There's so many things to talk about, so many things. And one of the things I want to say to the people around the call is that having conversations like this is just to draw you out of your comfort zone, make you ask questions and make you reach out to the right professional, people help that you need at this time or the season of life that you're in. It may be that you need a financial planner. It may be after listening to Vida, it's an investment advisor that you need. It may be that you need a retirement planning expert, people like Vida to take you through, help you look at your retirement targets and walk you through a plan and how to get there. It may also be that you need a finance coach, someone to help you do things better. It may also be that you need maybe, a mentor, someone to guide you along the road. So I just want people around the call to understand that it's not that we're not saying everything tonight. Like Vida said, if we can, we'll do a part 2. But I want people around the call, the 91 people, to get good value. Like you said, Vida, to go back and think, am I in the place where Vida was so many years ago? When you had all those little mistakes, or am I in the place where Vida was some months back, where she could say, look, I don't want to work for anybody at this time because I have assets that are generating income, that will feed me for this period. So I'll let you finish, Vida. Thank you so very much. I've seen comments already. People would like that you're using the examples and all of that. But if you rush through the remaining slides so that we can take some questions that will, really add value to people who are not high net worth individuals, if you know what I mean. And while you take your sip of water, I want to acknowledge 2 people around the call. I see my ICANN Council member, Chief Mrs. Hilda Ozo. She's also the first National Vice President of the Society of Women Accountants of Nigeria. Thank you, Ma, for joining us. I see also Mrs. Ejirogene Jagdonie. She's the chairperson of the Society of Women Accountants of Nigeria in Delta State. Thank you so much, madams, for joining us, and all the other SWAN members, professional colleagues that are around the call. Thank you so much for joining us. And every other person. Now we have 94 participants, Vida. So it's not only SWAN members I'm acknowledging, everybody is valuable. I just thought I should give honor to my council member and the chairperson from Delta State. Yes. Okay, over to you. I hope you've rested your voice.
Yes, I have. Okay, thank you very much. Standing on that existing protocol, I noticed that my elder sister, she's the one that sent me to university. In fact, she sent me to secondary school and university, is on this call. And I have to give her full props for making sure that I got a very good education, making sure my pocket money and school fees came promptly, no stories.
Welcome and so to the conversation, Ma. And I hope Vida is your retirement plan.
Her name is Davida Echetabu. So I call her Sweetim. Sweetim, thank you very much. I cannot stop saying thank you to you for all you have done over the years and allowing me be a spoiled brat. I promise not to change. I will continue to be spoiled. Okay. All right. So very quickly, another thing that helped me, and it helped me as a junior. So this one will help anybody who is in paid employment. I had a pension account and I did voluntary contributions. Whatever amount that you want to save towards your retirement, it's not the one that you put, then you get broke tomorrow, then you now go to your PFA and start shouting that you want your money. When you put voluntary contributions in your pension account, it is for retirement. It's a long-term plan. And so I did that for a number of years. So guess what has happened? The more money I had in my pension account, apart from the mandatory one that my employer and I were meant to do, it made sure that I was able to invest more there. And because it is money that I cannot touch, it's not cash on demand like money in your bank account, the money was growing. And it has done better than if it was within my reach. Within my reach, somebody would have bent face for me, or I would have seen something and say, I beg, listen, me too, I deserve to feel good. So your voluntary account with your pension fund administrator is also a great way for anybody, irrespective of your earning capacity, as long as you are in paid employment, or maybe even with there is the micro pension. You can do that. It will leave your salary, it will leave your account from source. So it won't even hit your account at all when they pay salary. It would have been taken off before salaries. I did that to help myself. Now, what has happened is that whenever, because After 4 months, I can go to my PFA now and say, I am no longer working. I've not worked for over 4 months. I want a part of my pension. They will give me 25% of my balance. Because I did voluntary contribution, it means I have access to more money than I would have if I didn't do voluntary contribution. So that one is a nugget that anybody in any strata of life can actually take advantage of. You just need to close your mind that that money is not for you to touch now. It's not for you to touch in 2 weeks or in 1 month or in 2 years. Close your mind that it is for salary. It is for your retirement. And then the last on this is the spiritual quotient. I will talk about it later. There's another slide. I'll talk about it later. Now, this is one for the road. This Jara. There are laws of handling money. Now, money is not wealth. Money is part of wealth because wealth is robust. Your social circles, your social media, it can be your money maker. Money is an aspect, investments are aspects, all sorts of things, relationships are aspects of wealth. Your insurance is wealth. Now, so on this part, we're talking about money. And I say this very, very consciously. There are people that I used to do it. I used to disrespect money. And it is the truth. You can actually disrespect something. But you see, you cannot attract what you disrespect. So you need to learn how to attract. It's just like a relationship between people who are dating, a married couple that are in love. You need to be attractive. How many of us remember those people that, let's say the aunties or the uncles, maybe when you're going back to school then, they are not nice, but you have to stick up to it because you are hoping that when it's time for you to go to school, they will give you additional money. But the minute that you do not have to put up with it, you will take off. That's how money is. So people earn salaries. Before the salary finishes landing in your account, you have kicked it out, sent it on all manners of errands up and down. So the money has not even had the opportunity to balance with you. I used to do that because it sounded intelligent when people would say, the salary they've already finished, it has already finished. I used to think there's something they're doing very important, which is wrong. I mean, if you get money into your account, let the money breathe in your account. Let it breathe in your investments. Before it comes, you're paying this bill, you're doing this, you're doing that. There's no harnessing of the resources. You can be attracted to somebody and you are not compatible. So money doesn't last in your hand. It's just reckless association money with you. No accountability. You don't respect the value of money. Isn't it just money? We just do it. It sounds like you are in control, you are proud. Money has value. And it is what you have. And that ties to even relationships. You talk to people in a manner that is respectful. You worked hard for this money. So why should you just treat the money anyhow? And then control. See, money is a very, very powerful thing. Very powerful. So if you are not careful, you will not, it will control you. You need to control money. You need to show money that it's in charge. I was privileged that from my junior years, I was in the type of office where we're used to calling big monies. I would see a client then, his account was 3 million balance. in 2006, 2007, and I'll say, hey, yeah, this man is almost broke. In 2006, Davida, if you shook me upside down and sold my village, I didn't even have 500K, even 300K I didn't have. And then I was looking at a client's account saying, 3 million last one. Now, wow, he's almost broke. Why? Because I was exposed, I was comfortable with large sums of money. So money's less than a particular threshold made me feel like this person is beginning to struggle. So when you do get your act together, and on the journey of getting your act together, you need to remember these principles. Money is a tool. It's a tool just like your car, your house, your shoes, your bags, your clothes. Money is a tool. If you care for your car properly, it will serve you. If you use your clothes properly, it will serve you. When you go home, you don't leave your front door open because of the things you have inside. You care for your things. It's the same way, care for money. And know that it is a tool. It is meant to serve you. Don't let it control you. Now, this is why I said I was going to come back to the spiritual quotient. I can say that on this journey that I have been, many people have tried many things by themselves based on what somebody told them. Did you hear? Come, there's one deal or something, the other thing, and all that. And the days are literally desperate. But you see, at the end of the day, our best laid plans, our Excel sheets and PowerPoints and projections and all that, if it is not approved, endorsed by the Lord, we will still struggle. And we have been, I'm almost certain we have struggled thus far. So this time around, you see that spiritual quotient, we're able to be bold when it comes to, I'm going for this presentation, I have this, I've checked this, and then we shift God, we say, well, this is not a church matter. This is not it's not a spiritual matter. Those type of things. You have to go back to the drawing board now with the Lord. Try again this time with him. Have it together and pray. There is power in prayer, and miracles still happen. While you are doing your part, the Lord will help you. So that even for errors we have made in the past, he can fast track things for you. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. And those are my contact details. I will go to the comment section, or do you have questions for me, Bimbo? You're on mute though.
Yeah, I think before you go to the Q&A box and the questions. Yes, thank you, everybody. Can you please help me give her a hand, a virtual hand clap? Thank you, Ikwaye, for reminding me to do that. Can you please give us thumbs up in the comment section just to encourage Vida? Like she said at the beginning of the session, it hasn't been easy to get her. She's busy, but I thank her for the time she spent with us this evening. And thank you for the way you've broken down, the message. The way you have presented it forcefully, people would have to take action, would realize the things that are not being done properly. Yes, thank you, Taiwo Bolaji. Thank you very much. So one quick question, Vida, before, yes, and you can leave this on for a while, okay? And I'm gonna put it also on my page, for some time to bring attention to the session we've had this evening. Just a quick question. I know you spoke about it briefly. Earlier I said I had questions, then part of your subsequent conversation, you mentioned ABC and the micro pension. So, but because there's a question, I want you to use that to answer the question. So okay. The question is, for self-employed people, you talked about pension schemes, and where organizations are making contributions on behalf of employees, and you said you stretched yourself to make additional voluntary contribution. So some people are in self-employment, and some people are working for small businesses where there's no pension program for them. So I want you to elaborate and talk a little bit about the micro pension and how people who do not have an employer packaged pension can access and begin to put their own pension plans together.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that, Bimbo. All right. So we have what is called a micro pension scheme. The micro pension scheme is set up for people who are self-employed or are, traders, but you need to be with an association. So, for example, and for ease of explanation, we have the artists, the movie stars, and I believe they fall under PMAN. PMAN is an association, so they can set up micro pension accounts under that association with a PFA of their choice. Clearly, I have worked with Stanbic for over a decade and a half, so that would be my default recommendation. However, there are 22 other PFAs, I believe, that you can also make inquiries from. The last I checked, there are just about 9 PFAs.
Can you please break it down? PFA is?
PFA is Pension Fund Administrator, like
okay.
a Stanbic pension, like a PAL pension, like a GTCO pension, and the like, ARM and co.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's what we call a PFA, Pension Fund Administrator. You can get in touch with any one of them and tell them that you want to open a micro pension account. They will provide you guidance quickly.
The minimum?
For people, it's your decision.
Yeah.
For the micro pension, it's your choice, what you are comfortable in putting in. And you can put in something for people who trade every day. You can put in something every day. It can be as little as 100, 500 naira on a daily basis, just to have that discipline there. You can put in monthly, you can put in, it's meant to be convenient for people who are self-employed, because we realize that unlike salary earners that earn monthly, income may be differently structured for such people. So please just get in touch with any PFA of your choice and have the conversation. They will send you somebody, they will contact you by email or by telephone and help you set that up. That's an easy one. For people who do not want to go that way, you can actually also open a mutual fund. And mutual funds, I think, is a minimum of between 1,000 to 5,000 naira. And you can decide to put in something there every month. Tick the box that says reinvest my interest. Don't collect it every month. Reinvest, because the power is in compounded interest. Between you adding more and putting back the interest over a length of time, that is what will take you to the promised land. If you are taking the profits out every month, you're running on the spot. You're running on the spot. Okay, that you can do if you do not want to. So those are options. Yes,
Thank you, Vida, for those options. And if you're around the call, there are 91 of us now around the call. If you've been working for years, and it doesn't even matter how long you've been working, either for yourself or working for an organization, if today you've joined this conversation and you do not have a firm pension plan in place, either one that you're doing through a pension fund administrator, you don't have a retirement savings account with them, or you don't have, like Vida was explaining, an investment that you have dedicated for your pension, I want to encourage you to please send an email to me, or send an email to Vida. We would support you, we would guide you, it's not for any fee. All we're doing is to make sure that people are better for it. So don't think I'm preempting the next question now, but irrespective of your age, please do not say you are not due to start planning your retirement. And you listen to Vida, you listen to Mommy Fola's example. There's so much benefit in starting early. Vida said she wishes she didn't stop doing the dollar savings she was doing. I like sometimes to teach with my, some of the examples and things that I have also experienced. There's so many investment opportunities that came, my way earlier in life. Well, because I did not have financial education, I did not take good advantage of those opportunities, okay? And the campaign I'm doing now is I don't want people to make the same mistake. I want people to do things better, and I don't want people to be a pain. When Vida and I were talking earlier on, she used the word dignity, and I said, wow, that's one word I need to put into this retirement conversation. You don't want to be without dignity in your old age. Let's say life expectation is 90 years. The first 30 years you're preparing, you're making yourself ready for work, for good jobs and all of that. Then you work for 30 years, you get to 60 and then you retire. There is 30 years looking you in the eye. You don't want to be the type that will be asking for where your next meal will come from. Thank you so much, Vida. So the next simple question, and I know I've spoken a little bit about it. When is the right time to start preparing for retirement?
Oh my goodness. That's a question of the destiny. It's a destiny question there. All right. So the best time to start planning for your retirement is the first time you earn your salary. It's as simple as that.
We're in the spirit from day one.
Yes, from day one. You see, that is what the pension account is meant to help achieve. But let us tell ourselves the truth. I like to bring out things in terms of numbers. Your pension is a deduction of 8% of your remuneration, basic housing and transport. So it means that 92% is still with you. Let's assume tax and all that goes, and let's just say no do. Somehow, no matter what, let's assume 70% is in your control. Now, your pension account is 8%. Your what hits you, assumption, please, let's say 70%. How many of us have the same amount of money in our pension accounts in your own personal savings account, even though you have 70% and all that was put in your pension account is 8%? Very, very few. So that is what your pension account. Now, the reason I said that is if 70%, because all of us will shout salary is not enough. It's not enough. Everybody wants an increment in salary. Do you now imagine that 8% will now be enough for you in retirement? It will not be enough for you in retirement. If 70% is not enough, 8% can't deliver you. So the reason we're having this conversation is, in addition to your pension, have savings and investments to bridge the gap. That is why we're having this conversation. Because your pension will be paid by your PFA when it is time. The question is, will it be enough? Will it meet your needs? Therein lies the question. So the best time to start, it's never too early to start. And it's also never too late to start.
Thank you for saying that.
You will need to double the effort later in life.
It's easier when you start earlier.
Easier, much easier when you start earlier. Especially, of course, and we're talking generally, we know that people have peculiar family responsibilities. But generally speaking, it is so much easier to start early than to wait till much later.
Thank you, Vida. Thank you so very much. I want to ask a question, which I know is very real. You know, the government employees,
Mm-hmm.
salary structure of government employees, the average government employee, not the PAMSEX, it's very far from people who are working for multinationals, for the MTNs, the Global, the Shells, the Mobiles, the Stanbics, the Access Banks. So people who are working for government, because of the Pension Act, I think it's 2014, government mandatorily is putting this 8% you're talking about aside for them.
Yes.
Because they are not well paid right now, when they retire, inflation and all of that catching up, except if the PFAs, invest, but, you said power of compounding. If the base is small, then what you get later will also be small. So the question, Vida, is people whose expected pension benefits, nothing to write home about. How can they secure a comfortable pension? I mean, retirement. How can they secure a comfortable retirement?
Okay, so can I go ahead?
Please go ahead. Yep.
All right. So one thing I have found out in life, you see cooperative, you see collaboration. I have worked in the public sector space significantly in the course of my career. So I am very exposed to the realities of the senior cadre and the junior cadre public servants, be it state, local government, NOLGE, SUBEB, federal parastatals, federal ministry, MPA, the works. I'm very comfortable in that domain. And I can tell you that in that space, the power of their cooperative is second to none, especially for the junior employees. They are able to harness resources, they're able to do things. A number of them are homeowners, even in better stead than those of us in multinationals who earn more. It is the ability for people to come out to work together. Because if you have only a little, you can't do it alone. You need to find like-minded people who are going to put money together with you in order to get out of it. Gone are those days where we are doing competition. I don't want to tell my person next door what I'm doing. I want to do it quietly, then I'll come and surprise everybody as a superstar. No, gone are those days. It's now a collaboration era. You need, that is the only way when your money is small. You need to find a network of people just like you who are willing to also fight their way out of that situation. Again, I cannot but go back to cooperatives. Where I worked didn't have a cooperative, sadly, but a lot of these places have cooperatives and they do a lot of things together. So they need to get into that space. They can't do it alone, not on that income. They need to get into a collectivity in order to achieve that thing. Two, for people, and I can speak particularly regarding Lagos State government employees, people who have worked for quite a number of years, when they do retire, they get a gratuity. And the gratuity can be pretty decent, depending on how high they were able to rise and length of years and all that. When you get your gratuity, you need to be very intentional about what you do with it. It is not the time to marry a new wife, as we would say, or a new husband, as the case may be. It's the time to first of all, take it and put it in one investment first to balance, and behave as if nothing about your lifestyle has changed. And take a good look at yourself. If you have already finished building or something, because a lot of people are concerned about accommodation, paint the house if you have not painted it. It's important you live well, but it's also important that you manage your new realities, because that money typically is bulk. That I know.
Yeah,
I hope I've been able to
address that. That's very good, Vida. Thank you for pointing out the gratuity. And there's something you said earlier on while teaching or while speaking. You were warning about how to take investment decisions. You were giving some tips on, in the conversation, you were giving tips on how to invest. And one of the things you said is don't invest if you don't understand. So we're saying the pension we're expecting from government is not going to be much, but if we do get access to cooperatives, we can begin to collaborate with people, or maybe take facilities and start a business or do something. And then when the gratuity comes, make sure you don't invest it wrongly. I'll just add to your answer to that question. What I've been teaching on my page and people who are my followers already know about, and it's what I call the ESI model. And I say that if you do those three things very well, there's no way you will not attain financial freedom. Most of the things that you've spoken about this evening, you have spoken to the three elements of the ESI model. Okay, you talked about multiplicity of income. Government workers and employees kind of have more time to themselves than people who are working for these multinationals. So it's a good time to begin to think and say, can I get a second source of income? What's my talent? What's my passion? What skills do I have? And the essence of starting or having this conversation now is that we want people to begin to think outside the box, to begin to say, before I get that gratuity from Lagos State government, what will I do with it? What business will I start with it? So the E of the ESI model is to earn more. So if some people are already tweeting it, it's to earn more. So if you are a government worker where your take home is not so much, no matter how high in the hierarchy you are in, or what level you're at, you can begin to look for what you can do which does not contradict what government has hired you to do. Look for opportunities to earn more. The world is now online. There are 80 of us now around the call with the panelists. We're probably in different parts. I know I have some friends from America or Canada and UK who are around this call. So you can do so many things online. The second thing you also talked about, Vida, you talked about saving so well. So the S element of the ESI model is to save better. Okay, you said something, you started saving and then you stopped for a while and then you picked it up again. And while you were saying that, some people put in a comment box saying they have difficulties with budgeting. Some say, I can never budget, I can never work with a budget. But I have so many materials on my website, and there's so many conversations we've had previously on this, on the YouTube page. And even this conversation we're having, I recommend that people should go back to it. By the time we post it online, listen to it again. And the license that you have is to reach out to us and refer to this conversation, and we will handhold you. Whatever Vida can do, she will do. Whatever I can do, I will do. I said earlier on that most of us around the call have different needs, we have different professional supports that we all need based on our backgrounds, our stages of life, and our exposures. And the last thing also is invest well. And you talked about it, you say you don't invest in what you don't understand. And so if all these three elements are applied to people who don't have good salaries right now, having listened to Vida talk this evening, sharing, without holding back from her own experience and the experience of our clients in the past, there's no excuse to retire poorly. And there's no excuse to retire without being ready. You asked us to put in a chat box how many of us are ready to put our letters down. Not many people. And that's because we're not ready. And it doesn't matter how ready we are today. We just need to work at being ready. And we said we're going to have a more detailed conversation with Momi Fola down the road. I mean, can you imagine, Vida, you just waking up one day and saying, I don't want to work for this. People are queuing up for that job that you left to, because you're ready. And it's not because what's the word now? It's because you prepared and, you're fortunate, and it's all about grace. Because if you don't have financial education when you should have it, you don't know is you don't know. But the day you wake up is your morning, and you must begin to take the right decisions. So I wanted to say that, and thank you for using the word advantage. You used the word advantage. If I wasn't as financially educated as I am tonight, and I listen to you, Vida, and I go back doing things the same way, not using the advantage of what I've heard you tell and talk to us about today, then I'm foolish, right? So people around the call must learn to use the advantage of the conversation they've heard this evening. You're using data, you're using airtime, probably the time you should be using to watch Netflix, or for those who love Nollywood. So I'm pleading with people around the call to please make sure that you go back and take action. There's so many things that Vida talked about. She talked about knowing what you own, okay? Your assets and your liability, very important in planning towards retirement. Because if you don't know what you owe, you may end up retiring with indebtedness, Vida, right? And that's not a good place we want to be. Yep. We don't want to retire having debt. And it's because of the 1 hour time that she has. I know if she had more time, she would break down all these things that she put on the table. She talked about cash flow management. She talked about investment management. She talked about multiple streams of income, which I also supported with the ESI model. And then you also talked about streamlining investments. That one, you're not talking to, let me not say you're talking to me, Sha. Let me confess. So,
we're talking to ourselves.
We're talking to ourselves.
We're talking to ourselves.
You don't want to have things littered everywhere, and as you age, and it's really part of retirement planning, really, because as you age, one day, Queen Elizabeth went. One day you get to 96. No matter what your age is today, or if you're privileged not to get to 130, but one day is one day. So you begin to streamline and begin to manage things better. Okay, I'm conscious of people's time. Do you want to take some of the questions with you? Is there any one you really want to talk about? Or should we go to there's one in the Q&A box, and it's anonymous, and I'm not sure. Somebody says, please share investments we can do it on. Yeah. You've addressed some, right? There's one about, okay, it's been answered. Yeah, the one on IVF. You've answered it.
Yes. Yes. I've addressed the person, and I'm sure she will reach out to either you or me personally.
Excellent. It's actually not a question for everybody. Indeed, I just wanted to do with it. Good. Thank you for doing that. Somebody's asking for investment options, investment opportunities.
Okay. Investment options, investment opportunities. There are so many out there, but you see here, that it is available does not mean you should take it. I mentioned a few things earlier. Who are the people behind the options you're taking? The truth is, I don't know everybody. I don't know all investment houses. I don't know. There are people that say, don't you know who this person is? I don't know everybody. But I will say that there are certain brand names in the financial services that you can visit and ask and get guidance. You can't go wrong, I think, to some degree with treasury bills and bonds. They are government stocks, they are government instruments, rather, that's what I mean to say, and they are known to be the safest. If you have time on your hands and you have a knack for it, or you are able to get some training and education on it, going into stocks and shares is actually a good avenue, if for nothing, for dividend returns on it. But again, I would say you need to be hands-on, you need to be available, you need to know what it is you're going into, the instruments you want to invest in. And let's get something out of the way. There is no investment that you should do that you will now close your eyes permanently and fall into coma. No. You need to be able to keep your eyes on your investments. Yes, there are some that would allow you sleep, but there are others that you must be watching actively. Forex is one. People do Forex. You need to study again because Forex is as volatile as the stock market. You need to be well guided, and you need to have the capacity for risk. There are principles for investment: high risk, high return, low risk, low return. None of them are better than the other. No, it's based according to your risk appetite, and even the boldest of people would ordinarily have a mixed portfolio, the ones that are really risky and the ones that are not risky. Everybody should have a mixture of both. So those are the things that should guide you in terms of investment. But I would say at this point that Coach Bimbo is available. She has the structure and she has the capacity to provide more guidance. I am not a coach. I have helped people and guided people over time, but I am not a coach. She is a coach. A coach is very caring, patient, loving, and kind. Last I checked, I am a wealth manager, meaning that, well, I am still on the journey to be as loving, patient, gentle, and kind. I will allow you fill in the gaps.
Yeah, thank you, Vida. Thank you so much, Vida. Thank you so much. We will continue to have these conversations on a monthly basis, and as frequently as I can make speakers, experienced speakers available. We have a recording on my YouTube page of a conversation we had with Mr. Davida Echetabu, and we spoke about investments, and it was the ABC of investments. So in that conversation, you know, we talked about the minimum, the maximum, the investment opportunities and that are available, diversification, and all of that. So you can go to the and watch that clip. But if you do still have a question, just send me an email. And like Vida said, I'm a coach. I'm not an investment advisor. I do not say I'm a financial planner. And I don't even claim to be a retirement planning expert. But I know where to guide and to direct you. We all listened to Mommy Fola, who talked about having, you know, worked with me. We worked together on diversifying her portfolio in a direction that she didn't even look at earlier, you know, before, you know, listening to the session that I had. So if I need to hand you over to anyone, there's some people around the call, and shout out to you, Madam Mana. Thank you so much, because you continue to promote the sessions that we're having. Mrs. Jennifer Ogbedi, also, you registered so early for this. Those are my colleagues. They are professional accountants, but they are also people who are interested in financial freedom and investing better. So some of them, you know, we talk, you ask for guidance, and I direct you to people who can do it and people who would accord the right courtesies to you, listen to you. If you're starting your investment journey, they will help you. So like Vida said, I can direct you to people who would help you. And what we're trying to do is we're all trying to help ourselves. When I was saying to Mommy Fola earlier on, I said, thank you, Ma, so much for lending your voice and your name to this session. She said, no, that we're sharpening ourselves, we're helping ourselves. And, you know, coming from a 75-year-old, you know, I just felt so blessed that, you know, she could spare time to join us this evening. So yes, investment opportunities, just send us a mail. If it's something that has to do with maybe your packaging your retirement accounts with a PFA or whatever, Vida will answer all the questions, and she will direct us and connect us to the people in her network. Do we still have time? Do you want to take another question? I know people are dropping off because we're almost hitting 2 hours. We're almost hitting 2 hours. So if
I'm available to take any.
Okay, so just one before the last, I would say, if people want to go away from this call tonight, Vida saying, what mistake must I not make? What mistake must I not make as I plan for my retirement? And ladies and gentlemen around the call, we're talking about the money aspect of your retirement planning today. Of course, there are other aspects, there are health aspects, there are family aspects and all of that. We're just focusing on the financial bits this evening. So what would you say? What mistakes should people say, after I listen to Vida, I will never make this mistake again? What are the mistakes? Few ones, 1 or 2 or 3?
Avoid procrastination.
Oh, great.
Avoid procrastination. A lot of us will leave this conversation with ginger in our spirits and determined that it's going to be different. And then we do not immediately take any step. Even the smallest step is better than no step. Avoid procrastination, because you will wake up one morning and realize 4 years have passed when you planned to take that step, and you just might not find yourself in that advantageous position anymore. So avoid procrastination. Just start, do something, no matter what. Once you can put one foot in front of the other, most likely you are going to put the next foot in front of the other. Get a good circle of friends. Your friends are more powerful on you than you know. I know that from experience. Hang out with the right people. And it is not a shame to say, I can't afford this thing now. Another time I will afford it, and walk away. Do not live up to funny expectations. So I believe they asked me for 1, I have given 3.
Yeah.
I'll stop here at this point.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vida. There's so many questions, but even though people are patient, I see that we still have 76 people around the call. But I'm just wondering at what stage to stop this. I teased you earlier on, and I said you are your sister's pension plan, because you know what we call black tax in Africa. You talked about it earlier on. In Africa, yes, when you send somebody to school, then the person becomes your pension plan. But life changes. You'll be surprised that some people that you thought would take care of you, they might meet a wife or a husband from heaven who decides to say, this is me, myself, and I. So now that it's getting lighter as we're wrapping up, I want to ask a light-hearted question. Is Omugwo, going to stay with your child where your child is having is that a pension plan? Can I sit here and say, and I think Mommy Fola answered that question earlier on, but let me just throw it to you again, Vida. Let's have a younger version of the response. Should our children be our pension plan?
I think that...
Thank you, Abiodun Noah. Thank you so much.
I think that there is a blessing in children giving their parents. There is a blessing. I'm not that Western to cut that off, no.
Okay.
However, it's easier for it to be a blessing when it is not a desperate situation.
When it is not a burden.
Yes, yes, yes. So
Thank you, Tolu. Mrs. Armstrong, thank you.
Yes.
Sorry for interjecting. I'm just reading the chat box.
I totally get that. It's just everybody will be somebody's pension plan. It's as simple as that. When we pass by the road, there are old women and people begging on the road. We are their pension plan. We are.
It's an African thing.
We're not giving them every month, but we are giving them something in that old age situation. The prayer is that we are never in that situation they are in, So we will always be somebody's pension plan in some way. It's to make sure that it's now not a permanent, total dependence, situation. So I hope I have.
I like that angle. And, when I was introducing you, I already said that you're very passionate and you don't joke with the God factor. So I like that you put it there, that you're not going to throw that away. If you have been blessed, then you need to bless. You know, like you recognize the input that your sister had in who you are today. You're let me say, are you a Lagos big scale?
Otio, I'm not a Lagos big scale.
You are a wealth what's that word now? You are a wealth coach, and you are a big woman, whether you like it or not. You're a big woman today because your sister sold into your life. And you're saying, yes, you're not what? Yes, thank you very much, Ireti. Heaven's big girl. Yes, she's Heaven's big girl. So if
yes, Ireti.
Yes, so if you your sister has sent you to school, when we know she's not in a situation where if you don't give her something she doesn't eat, you're saying to us that we must still give honor to whom it is due. So Mommy Fola's Mommy Fola's children are well placed, and they're all about, forget that she's investing around. I said for confidentiality reasons, we can't expose too much. So she's got children in well-placed, in highly placed positions. But what she's saying is that she took a decision, and let's go back to even the Bible that you're quoting. She's going to leave things for them when the time comes. She's investing so right now not because she's looking for what to eat. She doesn't want to be a burden on her children, and she wants to leave a good legacy for her children, and she wants to be able to support the causes that are close to her heart. You know, if you don't eat enough, how do you give back to, if you don't have enough to eat, how do you give back to the society? You know, and those are things that we should look at in the later part of our lives. We want to begin to support, you know, causes that are close to our hearts. If you don't have enough to eat, how would you do that? How would you give back? There's a payback period. So I like the blend of your response. I like the angle you came from, and I blend it with Mommy Fola's response, and you know, it's a good place to hang that on. Thank you very much for that analogy that you made of the percentage of the pension. If 8% is nothing, if you're under pressure with 70, how will 8% be down the road? And that says again that we really, really need to shine our eyes. I think another thing we haven't talked about this evening, Vida, is that people in employment must ask questions from their employers to know what they are entitled to. Because some people are just in employment, they don't know what they're entitled to. You talked about corporate.
Let me just answer small from my own personal, you know, mine is still fresh. And since we are all, this is like just the Jara and conversations. Yes. So I worked in the Blue Brand, that's Stanbic, and it may surprise people, but Stanbic does not have a gratuity plan for their employees or when you are leaving. No. No, there's nothing like that.
Wow.
It's not a shock as far, I didn't leave to be surprised. It's something that they have always told us over time. However, and again, I keep saying to myself, I am privileged. I am grateful that somehow the Lord helped me have what I had. So I took my decisions based on what I had, not hoping for a miracle from there.
You knew, you were aware of what you were entitled to.
Yes, but you see, what you were not entitled to, because there was nothing. You are not entitled to anything when you are leaving.
Well, surely they had a pension plan for you.
Just pension. Okay. But you see, the average Nigerian company, as we would assume, generally speaking, just the same way government workers, when they're leaving, apart from their pension, they get a gratuity and all that. And a number of organizations I know have that. Your employer does not necessarily have a gratuity plan for you. So be prepared so that when you leave and you don't get a gratuity envelope, a golden handshake, or an envelope saying thank you, don't be angry. Like Coach Bimbo said, use the time while you are in employment to prepare for the time when you are not in employment, but ask all these questions so that when you are leaving, it does not surprise you. You don't now start saying, after all these many years of work, of course, it would have been lovely to have something, but it's lovely. It's like nice. Nice is not a fruit of the spirit. It's it's not. It's just not. It's nice. Nice means nothing. It's nice. So ask these questions. And the earlier you ask, so that you know and start preparing. If you want to build a skyscraper and your neighbor wants to build a bungalow, the foundation is different. The time you will use, the resources you will use in, just digging the foundation to build upwards, very, very divergent, very different.
Very different.
So there are people who want to retire and go to the village. And it's because of the way our mindset is. There is nothing wrong in somebody retiring and saying, you know what, they've had enough of city life. They want to go to the village. Some people actually travel to America once a year from the village. Nothing is wrong with it, especially if they live in a decent place. People are living far better lives. If you enter their house in the village, it's better than all of us are in Lagos, hustling 4:30 in the morning and getting home at 11 p.m. at night. But people often look down on that, and meanwhile, there are people that want to live in Lagos. People want to live abroad. So it means that your realities, your financial realities will be different. And so the steps you have to take will also be different. When they're saying, come, let's go and do happy hour, you tell them, man, my account needs to be happy.
Yeah.
Because where you are going is different.
Yeah, Vida, it's as if we should not stop, because I really want to like sponge that you put in the water, squeeze as much as I can get out of you this evening, and for the benefit of people around the call. Thank you, Dr. Taiwo Bolaji, for joining us. Thank you very much. I can see you online. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, Vida, there's something, I don't know how to put this forward. Let me just take your position and say someone that I mentored, okay? Someone that I mentored, or someone that I am coaching had, or let me say, someone that I know, okay, had an opportunity a long time ago to invest in UK property investment, student accommodation. So this person's child said to this person and said, why don't you look into investing this way? This was so many years ago. And this person says, this person is too young to be talking, okay? Now I'm bringing the power of financial education to the table. The person saw the future and said, look, property investment, high net worth individual, the kind of people that you deal with, Vida, why don't you put some of your investment in this area? Because I see a possibility of investment income coming from UK properties. And the person says, no, And years down, this same person realizes like 10 years later, that this is a good place to look. But can you imagine what income the person has lost in those 10 years that the person did not have financial education? Okay, some of the people I mentored, there are two people around the call this evening. I see them online. One of them said, I wish, Mrs. K, that I knew what I now know when I was a youth corper. My life would have been much better. Another person who's also around the call, Tunji, said, what you missed learning, the mistakes you made, make sure that your children don't make that mistake. What you did not learn, make sure that you didn't learn on time. What you learned later in life, make sure that your children learn early in life.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
I totally agree.
Financial education, what I'm saying is, just like you said earlier on, we don't want to leave this call hearing, procrastinating, and going to bed. You talked about power of compounding. If we start taking decisions today, you start investing today, you talked about federal government of Nigeria bonds. The minimum is 5,000 Naira. There are other low-level investment entry points that Mr. Ayodeji told the finance coach BK family when he spoke to us. You know that, Vida. You don't have to be a millionaire to begin to invest.
Nope.
So I want you to speak to financial education, and we wrap it up. We just have to wrap it up. I'm loving talking with you, but we have to wrap it up.
Yes, we do. We definitely need to wrap it up.
Let me make you talk about it this way. Talk about financial coaching, financial mentoring, power of financial education. Yeah, let me leave it at those 3 things. And getting professional help, you know, the value of those 4 things, yeah?
Okay. Now, let us call a spade a spade. Remember I said, I gave a disclaimer, I am not a coach, meaning that I'm not always nice.
You're not kind. You're not always nice. Sorry, you are kind.
I'm not always. But I will tell you this. There are some pieces of information, advice you will get that you can only get when you have access into certain circles, into certain territories. There is a reason why people pay money to go to certain places to hear, because there is information. Now, what coach here is doing is amazing. She hasn't charged for this. I'm not charging for this.
Thank you very much, Vida. Thank you.
No, but the pleasure is mine. However, you will put your money where your mind is. You will pursue after information. We can't discuss everything here. You need to get a coach. I worked in financial services and I made all these many mistakes in the middle of working in financial services. If I knew what I knew now, what I know now, I probably would have looked for a coach many years ago to hold my hand, keep me accountable, force me to set up certain structures, and not think that I can do it myself, because clearly I couldn't do it myself. But fortunately, I was able to recover quickly. Well, I don't know if after 10 years it's quickly, but it's quicker than people who haven't recovered at all. And, you know, hit back at life. You need to get structured help. You need to pay for things. If it's important to you, you will pay for it. That's the truth. Coach is very nice and gentle. I am not for this purpose. I'm loving, but this is serious. You will use your money on what is important. You will go after it. You will use your time credibly. These are assets. These are currencies. You will place value on the resources you have around you. One of my friends is on this platform. His name is Andrew. He's in oil. I will not play into that territory without saying, Andrew, how far now? What's happening here and all that? The same way when he wants to make some financial decisions, he will play and ask me. He pays me, oh, let's not even be confused about that. He pays. But the point, yes, but the point is people need to not believe that everything is free and cheap. If it's free, know that somebody has paid the price somewhere. Hence you're benefiting. But you see, financial information, knowledge, you need to pay some money. You need to pay money. You need to pay attention. Sometimes it's not just cash. So you don't switch off on me. But you know what? When you go to the markets and you want to buy food, you spend money because food is important to you. You need to also place that type of premium on financial knowledge, on wealth knowledge, on being in the right circles. I have paid a lot of money recently. At the end of this month, I'm going to go and listen to somebody who just thinks differently. I just want to sit down and listen to other people whose mindsets are different, because it all starts from the mind. You must be in the right circles, and sometimes it may cost you money. It may not always cost you money, but if it costs you money, save up your money and determine you're going to get that thing. That's what I have to say to this. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Vida. I'm very grateful for you taking our time to be with us this evening. On behalf of everyone who's attended this evening, I want to say thank you. I like your new brand. I'm not sure if I have it here on. I think you have to share that. I think you have to share that.
I will share. I will share.
Okay, please share. Yeah.
I'll send it to you later.
Okay, so I'll send, yeah, so I'm gonna share Vida's contact details with everyone who participated in the conversation this evening. On behalf of the 64 people left on the call, I want to thank Vida for spending time with us this evening. I also want to thank Mommy Fola, Mrs. Fola Shinubi. She's a 75-year-old retiree, living comfortably with children and grandchildren, and she's forever seeking financial education, and who has shared from her experience this evening. We're going to have a chat time with Mommy Fola down the road, where we would have more gist about what is happening and how she's doing things and how she started. And in that conversation, we may also be joined by a couple more people, to share their experiences as well. Thank you very much to my friends. I see Damilola all the way from Ottawa. Thank you for joining in. I think I already thanked Dr.
I apologize. I think that NEPA has struck. I apologize. Please permit me to sign out now.
Oh, thank you, Vida. I'm just wrapping up. Thank you so much, Vida. Thank you. I'm going to share Vida's details. I'm going to stop spotlighting you. Let me see, maybe take that out. Yeah. Thank you everybody for joining. If you have questions, I did put finance coach contact details online for you. Some people asked for the WhatsApp number. I put it there, but I think with email, it may be better. If you want help, please introduce yourself. Don't just ask for the help, because when I have a little bit about your background, it helps me to know where to start supporting you. Mommy Fola Eshegonima, thank you so much, ma. If you don't understand Yoruba, I'm sorry to that you can't understand what I'm talking about. Eshegonima, thank you so much, ma. You're an inspiration any day, anytime. I said to you, I want to be like you when I'm 75.
You're already heading towards it.
Eshegonima, thank you so much, ma. Thank you for your patience and your time. Thank you, everyone. My council member, I can cancel members. Yes, thank you, ma. Mrs. Hilda also, the Delta State Chairperson, also joined us. Mrs. Ejiro Jagdomai, Madam Mona Kowan, Mrs. Jennifer Ogbede, and other executives of SWAN, the Society of Women Accountants of Nigeria. They're always joining these conversations and helping us take the financial literacy campaign forward. Thank you for my friends joining from Manchester. Dr. T, I'm sure you're online somewhere. Ikbaye, thank you so much. Yes, Paul Omaidu. Edobo Ijoma, thank you so much. Ajibola Bakari, thank you. And Dairo, thank you so much. Aramide Temitope, good to see you. Benis Onyebuchi, good to see you. And everybody, please make sure you take action. Make sure you take action. Make sure you take action. It's very important. We don't want to hear and be like the foolish person who forgets what he looks like when he leaves the mirror. Chioka, Christentia, forgive me if I don't pronounce it so well. Thank you for joining us. Chika Cyril and Wefa, thank you for joining us. Chinyere Wachuku, thank you. Christy Vincent, Damilola, Crown Prince, Didi Otobo, Dorcas, stay to the end though. Thank you for being there. Ebere Emeka Onwoka, thank you for joining us. Edoba Ejoma, Esther Okeke, Favor, Felicia Onolaja, Femi Alade Sui, Ibirunke Alabi. Thank you, everybody. This is so inspiring. Ibrahim Abdurazak, Ireti Gio, thank you so much for joining the conversation. I saw you very active in the chat box. Jane Afolabi. Yes, Madam Jennifer Ogbede, thank you. Lucy Chinwe Obiekwe. Madam Kowan, I'm clapping for you from here. Modupeola Alice Drojaye, thank you so much. Obodo Josephine, Ojulari Kabirat, Tobiloba. Yes, I sent you the WhatsApp number, but I think emails are faster. If you just send a little bit of your background in the email and what you want me to assist you with. But the WhatsApp is okay. You will be patient till I get to the WhatsApp phone. Olabisi Ayodeji. Olatunji Sule, I'm promoting you to Coach Tunji very soon. Send me well to your darling wife and my beautiful children. Yep. Olusheyi. Kudaisi, thank you so much. Oluwabumi Adebayo. I'm saying thank you because without you people, there'll be nobody for Coach BK to coach. Oluwabumi Adebayo. Omodumbi Matthew from Kogi State, thank you for joining us. Paulinus Monday, thank you for joining us. Mr. Olowu, Mr. Peter Olowu, Esheo, thank you so much. I saw your comments. And thank you for promoting the event. Tolu Ade Adedayo. Tolu Lope Chiemeka. Thank you all for joining us. Madam Tosin, your honor, I hope you gained from it. There's no way you will quote your name that I won't know is you. Madam Tosin Erus, I know it's not you, Yabeji. Thank you for joining. Ulari Agundu, thank you so much, Victoria Ibanga. And Yetunde Ojewumi. I appreciate you all. I'm going to stop the call now. Please feel free to visit the YouTube page of Finance Coach BK to listen to this conversation and previous conversations. For those of you that had questions about investments, the session we had with Mr. Ayodejebo would help you. And feel free to send an email. I'll connect you to Davida. I'm going to share contact details. And if you go to my page, you would see the flyer for this event, and you can also follow her online because she has a channel she started, and we can all gain from that. It's been a good evening. I wish you a happy Sunday, and I thank you all for joining the conversation today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Coach. God bless you. I really had a great time. Thank you.
Thank you, Vida. It's an honor. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.